Hello, so we have a pretty wild game played on Foxxy where black killed a bunch of stones in the middle and therefore white resigned. That's surprising to see because usually players on Foxxy they try to come back even if they are 200 points behind. But I guess this guy realized there is no way to turn the game around. So let's have a look. Komoko versus Hoshi, and then white is playing the Komoko facing the outside. This is a nice situation for black because for black it's ideal to attack a d5 or c5 coming from the top left corner. So white just goes for the corner here, solid connection, and then a peep. Obviously when black plays this peep, he doesn't want to finish up the Joseki with d10 or c10. So this would be proper, simply extend, either high or low. Actually here I would choose low, but it's just a matter of style or taste. It's fine to play both extensions. Also, black can play a fancy Fuseki, for example, go for a Shimari in the top left corner, and then when white comes inside to take away the extension, black will jump out g6. Now when white is looking for a base or escape somehow with his stone, I mean he can play this kind of moves or jump in the middle. Black has a follow-up on the bottom with g4 and nobi. So in this case, black doesn't have to play the peep at e4. Now usually that peep is played when you go for a hanging connection. So tiger mount and then play the peep instead of finish up the Joseki here. You play a peep because the shape is already quite resilient and then just go for the Shimari. Also, when you have this formation here, having the tiger mount, it kind of narrows the space for an invasion. But okay, white can still come in, let's say right in the middle, but in this case, black will just jump out or play a cap move and start a fight on the left side. So another thing is when you have the solid connection, black also has the option to play d4 to see whether white will connect solid in the corner or e4. So you don't really have to rush with the peep. I mean, it's okay to play a Shimari in the top left corner if you don't want to finish the Joseki in a classic way, even without playing the peep, because later on there are options, the g4, g6 and so on. But okay, it's also okay or interesting to experiment what happens with the peep, see whether white will block solid or play g2, but g2 leaves more quadrats later on, so the solid connection is fine. Then play the Shimari. So this was clear. I mean, black had the plan in mind when he played e4. Obviously, he wants to try something more fancy on the left side, not just extend calm at d10, because then it's a bit of a waste to play this peep when you can use it as a quadrat, or it's like Ajikeshi, eliminate better options for later. So we have this Shimari, then white comes in. White can play on the fourth line because that's where black would extend next, and also being on the fourth line it's easier to run into the middle. So if black attacks here, for example, white can go out with a Kosumi or play a one space jump, black jumps, then white jumps, so he's out faster. Playing on the third line, black can cap, and this feels good. Now in this position we see black played e14. It's not too bad, but it's too obvious for white what to do next. I mean, with this move, you're just inviting white go out between the stones. So there's a better way. First of all, white can also play Kosumitsuke here and then jump out. So it's much easier for white to fix his group. Therefore, in this case, black should consider other moves. For example, cap from the right and then try to chase the white group in a zigzag in the top. Because like this, black can secure the corner and also get strong in the middle. There are stones coming in the center for later prospects and potential. So another way is to play just slide, because this is threatening the cuts and it removes white base. So white will probably bump, then you can push. If white bumps again, you pull back, then when he jumps, you put pressure from the right side. So like this you also help your outside stones because they were quite thin, but now attacking the group in this direction, you get stronger in the middle and white is kind of forced to run on neutral points. So it's always interesting to chase the group in a way that he goes out like a snake, more or less. Because playing a move like this, obviously, white is not going to say, okay, I look for a base here and I let you surround me. He will just come out and you make the choice too easy for white. So when you play a Keima here and you don't let him go to the right, he might attach like this, then you Hane, he goes Nobi to the right, or of course he can also block, but on the block you go Atari, then white connects, then just connect, and a lot of pressure on the group, besides he's heavy and surrounded. So when he comes out, with a Nobi, you push. Clearly this is the vital point. He will play a bamboo connection to connect, and you can push again. And now the cap, it's in the right place because it's the ice stealing Tesuji. Therefore, white has to come back and protect with an empty triangle, which is very painful. Then you just pull back the stone, and again the group is on the run. So the idea is to chase him out in a zigzag formation, more or less. So that's one thing. Of course, this move looks ideal for the corner, then white will jump out. But now you're losing the power of this e10. So normally you should play something like this. But there's an interesting move that black can play here, which is the bump at d10. Now the reason for this bump is that white cannot really play c9. Because in this case, black will cut. And when white cuts, black just connects under. So the stones on the left side are in trouble, and also the group in the middle. If white tries this move, black will just go down. Now when white cuts, black turns and connects to the top. And if white tries this move, black connects here, so the stones on the left side died, and his group is still running. So he needs to go out, for example, with a Kosumi this way. But losing these two stones, it's already nice profit for black during the process. So that bump, it's an interesting option to think about, because white might pull back, then black will hane. Nobi, this will fix the base for the black group, or settle some shape, and this group in the middle is still on the run. Then you can play a peep from one side or the other. I would probably play from this direction because the group on the left needs more help than the group in the top. White protects. And then if it's not so clear how to attack this group, you just leave it and go for big points like this, or San, or maybe make a Shimari in the top right, because indirectly this affects white's group. So the problem with these jumps, oh, that was too heavy. White was supposed to play a flexible move, one space jump, or kick once and then jump. Because once the kick is in place, when black tries to separate this kind of Iken Tobi, it will never happen. Atari here, then hane or connect. Or Atari the other way, then connect this way. There is no cut. So white shouldn't worry. I think white played this double up because he was afraid black might try to cut the Iken Tobi. But even if this happens directly, without the exchanging the on the side, white can Atari, connect, and when black cuts here, white will play Atari, Atari again, push, and just capture. There is no way out for black here. So black is not going to try to cut the Iken Tobi. Anyway, it's generally a bad idea to try to cut like this. So white was worried, but now white is just heavy. So here, black again can play this kind of move just to erase the base, then this one, then pull back, and the group is on the run. So jump out. Now, normally you would like to play a cap move and then combine with a Keima or something. If he goes to the other direction, Keima this way, so you push him to the top. But in fact, you're going to gain a lot because white is just forced to run to save his group, but on neutral points. And then all of a sudden, big potential is coming in the top. So with this jump, again, you make the choice very easy for white. He'll just jump out. So jump again. The problem is when you jump from two sides, you're always somewhat behind because white plays one jump and he's between the groups. But, well, curiously enough, this white group still managed to be surrounded and killed later on. But that was a tactical error on white's part. So he's trying to fix the base here, but this kind of failed. Yeah, white was greedy. He should just go back. Defend, black will capture a stone, then there's Atari from behind, and then he can play Kosumi here or a second line move, and the group is already settled. So there's nothing to worry for white now. And obviously, we can see these jumps here and the jumps in the middle, they all turn into neutral points. So the idea of chasing in a zigzag earlier was much better for black. So white was greedy, coming out here, trying to kill everything, and then I think he missed the option that black will push through and play the Tesuji later on. Here I can think of a peep, because this leaves a push and cut and so on. It's better than just Atari. But I think white didn't realize he can't connect under, so this was a nice catch by black. Just wedge and it works, because on this Atari, you continue with Atari and another Atari and capture the stones. So white obviously missed that combination, and well, there's a complete failure on the left side because black got all the points. Now a peep and a cut in the center, that's good. Very nice to cut K12. It's also okay to cut K14 because white has to pay attention. I mean, when you cut in the top and white goes Atari, you Atari from behind and then pull back and the group is dead. So that's just bait. Therefore, white can play something like this, but then you extend to the right. And the group is still under a lot of pressure, then you build a lot in the top. But this cut is nice too, because once white connects, he's in an empty triangle formation. I mean this one. So cut where you can cut. There are two cuts, both were good. Now this push from behind is not really necessary, you should actually just go for the top stones. If white turns here, you come in the middle and the group is still on the run. Besides, the other stones on the left are getting weaker. This move is just pushing white out, but that can induce the catch in the top, so black will either no-b or play Atari here. Going for the 3 stones is not so important right now, because if you just take the top and he's trying to save these 3 stones, for example he plays here, then later on you play another move threatening to cut them and he connects something like this, he's not going to build much saving the 3 stones, and there are still other big points on the board. So this is a pretty small catch. Besides, it's important to stay ahead here at M12 because you still want to be able to attack the big dragon. That's the priority. Playing away from the fight, white can play one Atari and then a nice shape and he's out. Or he can just play no-b, threatening the squeeze. You got a turn, then he jumps one way or the other and he's safe. Well, okay, so he played Atari, then connects, okay, that's fine. You got a turn one way or the other. Yeah, this is actually good. Then Hane, one space jump, that's fine. White tries to make some shape in the top. Actually, white can play here. Black needs to bamboo, and then the shape is just this kind of move. On this move, you can Hane, and it feels good. Cut is not necessary. Good enough to Hane, because if he plays a double Hane, then you cut and catch the 3 stones. So when you play Hane, he needs to go down, and then there is not enough eye space yet. And on this move, he has to Hane. On the block, he has to connect or go down. Otherwise, again, you have the Atari. For example, if he plays Atari here, then Atari here, then Atari under, you can just Atari from behind, Atari like this, and capture everything. So let's see how the tactics will go here. We have a cut. Oh, that exchange is not so great because he leaves the cut at F12. Then Atari from behind. Atari here is very good. White has to capture. Black is a little bit greedy with this Atari. It's not necessary, just go down. Because you gotta think where white wants to play next. So let's say you play here. He wants to turn like this to make eye shape and put pressure on the group. And on this turn, normally black should no-b. But if you simply go down, okay, if white makes an eye, it's painful. You can go down again and build a lot in the top. But if you play Atari, he can fight back. It's not like he's going to connect and lose the eye, create some kind of gray shape, and then you connect here. This is wishful thinking. So obviously he will fight back with an Atari under. Therefore, simply go down, puts more pressure on the group. Imagine white plays this and defense, and then you hit the vital point here, then you play Kosumi. So the group, in order to leave, he needs to come back and create this eye, but there are so many stones just to make that one eye. So playing Atari was a bit too much, and normally after this Atari you just have to connect, and when he pushes you jump and so on. So you take the ko once, then fine. Now push. This was meant to be a ko threat and white had to protect. And then if you take back the ko, if white doesn't have threats, he just no-b in the top or plays a one space jump. But the group in the middle, it's already safe. So this is where white made a critical mistake. He went for the top stone and allowed this cut. Now the group on the left side dies because in the middle it's difficult to fight. Even if he comes out, there is nothing to do. Yeah, black answers everything, plenty of liberties, this is good. And here, when Atari, you don't need to jump. It's good to connect at R14, because if white plays the no-b, first of all, you can play this peep, but it's not necessary because maybe one Atari and Hane from the top, but you can just jump out. Because now, if he tries to push and cut, he has only 2 liberties, so you just capture the 4 stones. So once you jump, he needs to come out here, and then you push down, because now if he pushes and cut like this, you either catch the 3 stones on the right, or you set up a ladder on the other stones, which goes all the way to the right side. So it's not necessary to give up on Uki when you can connect and fight. If he comes here, then you jump like this. Then when he comes out, you try to catch the stones on the right. Well, he still wants to play a Hane, give him a bad shape, and then go for the kill on the right side. So there are more targets. I mean, first of all, this group died, and now you can chase this down, the two tiny groups on the right side. So it's still a better deal for black. But okay, this is a safe way. So white capture a Ponoki, then black leaves in the corner. The life can be made with Q17. So block, Hane, and connect. But this is a good move too. And now, oh, white tries to escape in a fancy way, but actually he missed the simple move. Just turn, no more liberties. So when he plays here, it's just captured. When he plays this one, same thing. When he plays this one, Atari. So it's game over. Well done, but it could have been slightly better in some moments of the game for black, but also for white. White completely missed the connection at M11. He should play M10 and continue fighting. So this could have been a much longer game. Anyway, nice catch, and keep on doing that in the next games to rank up to 3 down, 4 down, and so on. Enjoy the review.